Let's get you up and running with AthleteSR. Once you start AthleteSR, you're greeted with your team calendar. At the top of the page is your main menu where you can see all the teams that you are a member of. If you're a member of more than one team, you can use the Select Team drop-down to select a different team. Once you select your team, all the options on the screen are now displayed for that selected team. If you have any scheduled events on your calendar, that means that some of your colleagues have already started creating a schedule for this team. Important thing to remember is that all the data you create is shared and is accessible to all members of your team. Now let's see this team lineup. From the main menu, select the Athletes item. Here we can see the list of all the athletes on this team. We'll add a few athletes to complete the team lineup. You can either manually add athletes one by one or import them in bulk using the import function. The manual creation is pretty much straightforward. All you need to do is fill out the basic information about the athlete, such as first and last name, as well as email, which are mandatory fields. Everything else is optional. Important thing to know is that athletes can only be assigned to one team at a time. Importing the athletes is much faster rather than adding them one by one. To generate the import template, click on the Generate button. This will download the CSV template file to your download folder. Open the file in your spreadsheet software. There are 8 columns in the import file, and just as when manually adding information, the mandatory fields are first name, last name, and email. In the first row, you'll find example data in the right format. I already have example data on the clipboard, so I'm just going to paste it into the table. I will save the file and return to AthleteSR. Next, I'm going to upload the filled CSV file. Now we have athletes imported into AthleteSR. Inactive status means that we still haven't sent the invitation email to athletes. We can easily do that by selecting all the athletes and clicking the Invite button. Athletes will receive the invitation email, and that will be indicated by the pending status. Once the athletes complete their registration, their status will change from pending to active. This means they're ready to use AthleteSR. Okay. Now that we have our team set up, let's see how you can organize your athletes into meaningful groups that you can easily reference and use later. To do that, select Groups from the menu. Let's create the group called All Athletes, in which we're going to put all the athletes from our team. Select all the athletes from the sidebar and drop them on the newly created group. Great. Let's create another one. We're going to call this group Injured. And this group is going to contain injured athletes or the athletes in the rehab phase. To move or copy the athletes from group to group, select the athletes by clicking on the cards and use simple drag and drop. The pop-up will ask you whether you want to move or copy the athletes. For the sake of the example, I'll copy them. Now, when we have a few groups created, the next step is to set up the surveys. Select Surveys item from the menu. AthleteSR comes with 2 pre-built survey templates that you can use instantly. However, you cannot edit these demo surveys. So we're going to duplicate the existing morning wellness survey template. Here we see the survey questions that are already created. You can add a new question by scrolling down and clicking on Add New Question button, or by clicking Insert Question, depending on where you want to place your question. Survey Builder is quite flexible and allows you to choose between 11 types of question. Let's quickly add a question. Select Essay/Long Answer. This type of question will allow the athlete to enter longer notes or a comment. Let's call this question Extra Note. Make sure to enter instructions for the athlete as well. For example, to provide for extra comment or concern. Once you save the question, it will be automatically added to the survey. Let's go back to the survey template page and see how you can create a new survey template from scratch. To create a new survey, click on Create Survey button, enter the survey title, and click on the Save button. This will create a blank survey where you can add your own questions. Let's add a body map question. Location score from 0 to 10 and a max number of selections, 10. Now you have your first question placed in the template, and you can continue adding more questions. For any detailed instructions on the survey builder, please consult our help section. After this basic setup, we can start creating the events in the calendar. Click on the calendar item on the menu bar. There are 3 ways to create a new event. You can use the button above the calendar. You can click twice on the desired place on the calendar. Or you can use drag and drop option to move one or more items from the sidebar. Let's create our first event. We'll use the button for this. We'll call this event Afternoon Training. Here in the Event Details section, you can set up the time and date of the event, set your event to last all day if you want, create a repeated event, or change its color. If you wish to remind your athletes and staff members about the start of the event, you can do it here by adding a notification in this Notifications tab. Here you can choose the notification type and when to notify them before the event starts. In the Location tab, you can add the location and venue of the event. If you want to leave any note to your athletes, you can insert it here in the Notes tab. Also, in More Options, you can add tags that are very useful when filtering the events in the calendar. To add participants to the event, you can select them from the drop-down or use drag and drop from the sidebar. You can also use groups that we created before to add multiple athletes to this event at once. They're listed here at the top of the drop-down menu. In the same way, you can add staff members to this event. Now we can attach a survey template to this event to be able to collect all the data and eventually create the desired report. Select the SRPE from the list. Close after refers to the time window during which athletes are able to fill the survey after the end of the event. You can also allow the athletes to fill the survey during the time of the event or allow them to change their answers after initial submission. You can also preview the event and survey to make sure everything is in order before saving. Let's save this event. You will get a question if you wish to instantly notify participants of this event. Also, any important changes in the event will trigger a similar pop-up question. Now we see this event here in our calendar. We can easily edit the event by double-clicking on it at any time. You can also add extra athletes to that event by dragging and dropping them from the sidebar. Clicking once on the event will indicate athletes involved with a vertical blue line on the sidebar. This way you can easily see which athletes participate in the event. After your athletes fill out the survey for any event, you can see their answers on the results page. Here you have a table of all results for the selected time period. You can use the filter options to narrow down the displayed results. In the Answered column, you can see if the athlete has filled out the survey. Click on the result to preview his answers. Here on the Results Preview, we can see which event the result refers to, which athlete filled it out, and also when. And below this, we can see all his or her answers to this survey. We'll now close this preview and go back to the results page. If you want to create a custom report and perform a detailed analysis of all collected results, you can do so using the sync and export options. Results can be easily exported to your favorite spreadsheet app like Excel or Google Docs, or synced using the JSON link to third-party applications like Microsoft Power BI or Tableau. That's it. You now have the basic knowledge of AthleteSR to go and start using it. You can find a list of frequently asked questions and answers on a particular topic on the help page here in the user menu. And also, if you have any questions or suggestions for us, please let us know. Thanks for watching, and have fun using AthleteSR.